Good evening, everyone. Tonight I've got another special guest, Figsy's Games. So welcome,
G'day,
Figsy.
g'day. How's it going?
Good. Yeah. So basically, I'm not too sure. Like a lot of my guests want to come through the day, but Figsy is a bit of a night owl by the looks of it.
Yeah, I
So
like the nights. I like watching all the European sports, so I stay up at night working.
okay, I was wondering if you're a vampire or a stripper, or maybe a bit of both.
I was eating octopus last night, getting ready for the show. So
Yeah, that's take out the population, mate. It's like Highlander. There can only be one.
take out the weak ones one at a
That's
time.
right. That's exactly right. So yeah, I did a bit of a recon mission on you yesterday, mate. Had a look at a bit of your podcast. So yeah, quite enjoyed that. So what was the podcast called?
So I do a podcast called the PlayStation Collectors Podcast, and yeah, it's as it sounds. I get different PlayStation collectors on once a week with a host from America, and yeah, we get guests from all around the world, talk about their collections, play quiz games, show video games means, talk about collecting news, and yeah, it's doing pretty well. I think we're up to episode 54 or 55 or something.
Oh, okay. Is that a weekly endeavor or?
Yeah, once a week. Some weeks we do 2 episodes. We have like a Patreon, so we've got more episodes on there. But yeah, it's mainly like the Sunday show is the one that we do every week.
Yeah. No, it was quite enjoyable. I think you had a couple of the South Africans on yesterday when I was watching. So that couldn't work out the accents, but yeah.
I didn't think their accents were too bad. Some countries are pretty hard to understand, but they
Mm.
weren't too bad from South Africa.
Yeah, and I suppose that's something that we're going to lead into a bit later in, is actually engaging with your international market. Because obviously watching the podcast yesterday, you touched on trades and international trades and all those different things, and I think that would obviously transcribe across to reselling pretty well.
Yeah, 100%. Before I was a reseller, I was collecting, and with collecting games, it's about making contacts, and I made a lot of contacts around the world. So I started trading around the world, and in doing so, you learn, how to do things at the post office, how to fill out custom forms, and the cheapest way to send something to someone in South Africa, for example, and different things like that. So when I started reselling, first day I turned international shipping on for every single listing. And I think I sell 10 to 20%, sometimes like 50% of my sales over the weekend go to America because I have a competitive rate. I only charge $20 to send a video game to America, which is pretty competitive.
So you obviously opt for flat rate postage international market.
No, I've actually really knuckled down on my postage policies. So I've like worked out how much it costs me to send to each region. I'm with Australia Post, so I get the My Post discounts. So I take that into consideration a little bit. I keep some little bit of profit for myself, but I like to be able to have competitive prices. So I have prices to send to like America. I've got prices for New Zealand, different prices for Europe, different prices for the rest of the world, and then I've got different price points for items that are under 500 grams, from 500 to a kilo to 2 kilos, and then 2 kilos to 5 kilos. And I stop at 5 kilo items. I don't
Yeah.
send anything over. However, if someone messages me, I'll then happily organize something. And if they want to pay the postage, then I'll do it.
And I suppose before I touch on your reselling business, is how hard do you reckon international postage is?
Once you do all that in postage policies, it's all done, and all you have to do is weigh your item when you list it and tick, all right, this is going in the 500 to 1 kilo item. And then, when they buy it, eBay instantly does the postage policies for you and calculates the price, and it's done. And, I use, sorry,
keep going. Sorry, I didn't
I
really
use My Post Business and print them out. So I just have to type in the value of the item, the category it's in, the measurements, which most of the time it's on the package, or I've got a tape measure sitting right in front of me, so it takes 5 seconds, and I've got scales sitting right here. So again, it takes 5 seconds to do all this stuff. So it's really no extra time to do international postage, and I'm making a profit on every. If I sell a DVD for $5 in Australia, I'm making $2 or $3 profit. If someone in America buys that, I'm then making $6 profit. So it's beneficial for me.
Because like I was getting to before, is I see a lot of people in the Facebook groups that you humans use, and they're definitely scared of of international postage, and I can't work out why. Yeah, I get a lot of my mail through Bermuda Triangle Post, and it always arrives here. Yeah, there obviously are some countries you wouldn't be posting to, um, but as a rule of thumb, it doesn't take that much extra through my post business. So, what band would you be on? Are you on band 5 or?
I switch between band 4 and 5 depending on the month.
Yeah.
Funny you say that. There are some countries you wouldn't post to, because I've even found a way around that. I had a collector in Russia contact me, and Australia Post don't send mail to Russia at the moment, so I had to send it to a collector in the Netherlands, who then forwarded it to him in Russia, and vice versa. He did it to me, and I got a really rare game that I was after. So there's wills and ways around absolutely everything with international postage.
Well, that's right. Yeah, you just need to find how the back door it is. But I suppose, as the general rule of thumb, it's not that scary and it's not that difficult when you learn how to do it. It
No,
literally
not at
takes
all.
you about 2 or 3 seconds to do your first run. Then off you go from there.
I'd argue that eBay Australia actually really help Australian sellers to a point where it's almost unfair, in my opinion, for buyers overseas. So I have free returns on, and I need that on for eBay Plus and things like that.
Mm,
However, you don't need it for international. And the way returns work is it's 30 days from the day
yep.
that you send it out. So if it takes 3 weeks to get to someone and they don't do the return in a couple of days, eBay will just reject it for you. So
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I've never
um,
had an international return, so I've never known.
I've had people like say it didn't arrive and different things like that, and
Mm,
they've done it after the time period. eBay's always sided on me because I've got a tracking number, and the tracking number can show that it left the country, so I've done all the right things.
yeah, okay, that's good to know. Yeah, because I'm very similar to you. So about 30% of my sales every week go over international. Because I try and source products that actually cater to the international market for the exact same reason you said. You're getting more profits, because to be really competitive in Australia, you always have to, well, personally, I do free postage, and that
Me
chews
too.
into
Every item's free postage.
so that chews into your profit margin. But like you were saying before, is that if you do international, it actually throws that international post on top, so you are skimming off the top of that.
Yeah, it gives you a couple of other advantages too. One thing that people probably don't even think about is different currencies change every day. So to
Mm,
someone in, like, say, the Netherlands, you're posting an item for $10. Like, it might be $10 today for them, but currency changes, it's $9 overnight, and you haven't changed the price.
that's right.
Different
Yeah,
things like that.
Yeah, because I don't really think about the currency conversion. Yeah, because like you said, it just fluctuates all the time. When it becomes more competitive for international buyers, and more often than not, we've got products that they can't source locally. So works out in our favour from that perspective. So we obviously, we've talked a little bit about international postage, but I'll roll into what you actually do now. So what do you mainly revolve around with your eBay business, mate?
So my name is Figsy Games for my store. So my primary item that I try and source is video games.
Hmm.
However, video games are quite expensive, and I like to keep them for myself. So I've then had to branch into items that have a lot of profit and are cheap. So I buy DVDs, CDs, books. Those are my primary 3 items that I source for it, say garage sales, op shops, pawn shops in a weekly basis. And I try and pay next to nothing for those items because you
Hmm.
can. I mean, I went out garage selling last weekend, and um, one lady was throwing all her books and stuff out. So I went through a skip bin, and I've actually already sold all the books that I bought because I listed them all at once.
Yeah, yeah. No, DVDs, I suppose. Yeah, like video games in that respect. You need to get the right ones though.
Yes and no. I find, because I'd sell DVDs for $5, and not many people do that. I probably sell like close to 100 DVDs a week under the $7 mark, and I've got
Okay.
repeat buyers who are only interested in DVDs at that price point. I got one buyer in the last week. He bought 19 DVDs at once and 12 DVDs at once again. So like they're all $5 DVDs, but then it's a $70 sale, and the cost
That's
price
right.
for me is like $5. So
Mm,
like
mm,
there's definitely benefits to selling DVDs at $5. That's probably like the biggest question that people ask me. How can you make money on this?
mm. But like you said, if you're paying next to nothing for your products, why not? So I think I touched with the grumpy granny last week. Is I refuse to sell anything under $20 now because it's not worth my time. But like you said, if you've got a business model where you can pump out those DVDs at $5 mark and post it, and that's untracked as well. Is it using stamps or are you
Yep.
using tracked envelopes too?
I never use stamps. I make the post office print out the labels for me.
Oh yeah,
I found once I stopped using stamps and started having the labels printed out, I got less people claiming untracked.
yeah, okay, yeah. Because like I said last week, I actually out of 100, I probably have one or two go missing, so I use that as a cost offset.
Yep.
But
Yeah, I at the moment it's honestly like 1 out of 1,000. It's been really
all
good
right.
in 2023.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's good. I know in COVID, I actually was getting like item not received left, right, and center because I was sending a lot of things overseas untracked.
Oh,
Using
yeah. I learned my
$2.20
lesson.
stamps.
Never again.
Yeah, use
The
$2.20 stamps, and I was had to refund like almost 90% of the orders.
the difference, I seen it today. It was $13 or $15 from untracked to tracked in international postage. So it's a no brainer for me to go with tracked.
Yeah, so that's something that obviously, if you are looking at going international postage, it's always choose the tracked option. Is it the standard? I think that's what it's called. You got
You got
ex,
express, standard,
express,
and then
standard, untracked. It might be called. I'm too sure.
economy or something,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is
Just pay the
the
extra
one that
couple
you
of
don't
dollars.
pay. You
It's not
touched
worth
on
it.
something interesting, time. So like I do value my time as well. So things like DVDs, I almost feel like I've automated that process.
Hmm.
So Saturday, for example, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I went upstairs and started cleaning DVDs because I knew the footy was on at 4:30.
Yep.
By 3:30, 3:40, I had cleaned 100 DVDs, ready to take photos. I took my
Yep.
photos at 3:30, 4 o'clock. The footy was on. I started listing by 7:30, 7:40. I'd listed 102 DVDs. Watched 2 games of footy, and
Hmm.
otherwise I would have just sat there watching the footy, not doing anything anyway. So
Well, that's right. Yeah, like you said, you just using something in the background. Um, yeah, so that's when you said you clean DVDs, is that just cleaning the disc or cleaning the case, or is that encompassing everything?
all three of them. I've got a disc cleaner, but I only use the disc cleaner if a DVD's worth say $20 or more, or
Mm, mm.
if it's a season and I've got 6 of them and one disc is scratch, I'll clean that one to make them all clean.
Yeah, yeah.
It's actually
And
sad. I've got to a point where I've started throwing DVDs out because a lot of the op shops don't even take them anymore.
yeah. So what I normally do with my lower end DVDs, I put them in a big box, then do them as kind of mini wholesale lots for resellers.
Yep.
So I think I cleared out maybe 400, 600 DVDs in my store in the last fortnight. Just put them in 6 boxes and $60, and a reseller came and picked them up.
Yeah,
So,
nice.
but like I said, I really, I'm trying to get my average, sales price up to about $40 or $50, and I just found that the DVDs were, the lower end, which was just, bugging me a little bit. But yeah, like you said, if you've got a process that's down pat, you go from that. And do you offer international postage on those DVDs? Did you say?
Yeah, I do. And surprisingly enough, like I sell so many DVDs. Like I said, $5 DVDs to America, and I'm making $9 profit on them because it's
Mm, mm,
postage and Australia Post discounts and different things like that.
mm. Do you find that that's like Australian centric TV series and all those different things that you're sending overseas, or is it like a range of everything?
Yes, and movies from 1950 to 1970. So I'm
Yeah, okay.
assuming my demographic of buyers like 60 to 80 years old, and they don't really use the internet. They're still using DVD players and different things like that.
It's got a whole bunch of old ladies looking after you, mate.
Well, that's who I'm buying them off. I'm going to garage sales and I'm buying people's DVD collections, and
Mm, mm.
it's grandma and granddads and different things like that. And
I
they're like,
suppose.
I'm picking up John Wayne, and they're getting excited because I'm getting excited over their DVDs.
I suppose. Do you see that? You know, I suppose for lack of a better term, diminishing. The DVD market, like you said, your demographics 60 to 80-year-old. These people are probably sliding off the mortal coil. Where people start getting into streaming services and all these different things. Do you reckon DVDs have got a future? I suppose for lack of a better term, or
If you asked me that question 3 years ago, I would have said DVDs are dead. But now I'm reselling DVDs. It surprises me every day how often DVDs sell. I've
mm,
joined Facebook groups of like DVD collectors and movie collectors, and there's so many different movie collectors out there with game rooms that are like mine but
mm,
full of DVDs. So
mm.
like I'm not gonna poke holes or say anything about someone's hobby. If they enjoy collecting what they do, then good on them. But for me, I don't own any DVDs in my personal collection. I watch all my movies, on Netflix or YouTube. I don't have any
Mm.
CDs. I got one CD. It's in my car at the moment, and that's it.
You can always rent your own stock though, couldn't you? Yeah, if you came across a DVD you haven't seen or you're interested in watching,
Yeah,
throw it
my
on and just go for a
mum
ride.
came to visit, and we used to watch Inspector Rex as a kid, and I had a couple of series up on eBay, so I put it on, and it's actually an expensive DVD now, so it was nostalgic to watch something like that again.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, and, I used to partake in a bit of Inspector Rex back in the day. Just he's still alive, unfortunately. He never
He's
caught
jumped
me
in the
though.
ocean a few times. He must have just
He's
missed
never
it
caught me. He's
in
tried, but
those
never did.
Dutch waters.
That's right. Yeah, so with video games as well, and that's something I was going to ask you about. Does your mum mind that you're filling the basement up with all your video games?
So funnily enough, it's actually my place, believe it or not.
No, okay. I
I
thought you must have lived in your parents' basement, like a stereotypical gamer.
I was renting a room in a house like a stereotypical gamer and living in the shelves, but I put my finger out and bought a place a few years ago, and made sure that it had room for a game room. So
Mm, mm, mm.
yeah, I
And
live
do
here by
you,
myself. Well, I've actually got my coworker with me. If you want to meet my coworker quickly,
yeah, put him
wait.
on.
Hey, come here, come here, come here. Well, we had a big walk today, and she's a bit tired, so I don't think she's going to make the camera. But
Oh, that's all right.
I got a
Next time.
four-legged friend who follows me around all day and makes sure that I work really hard.
Yeah. So I suppose with your video game sourcing, do you find it really competitive when you get to like garage sales and op shops from a resale point of view? For obviously you collect, you're very selective with your collection, but if you're trying to source locally, how do you normally go around that?
Yeah, video game sourcing and reselling is really hard today. So I started selling video games in like 2018, 19, just as a side hobby because I was collecting and I had 500 doubles, and I'm like, I may as well just throw these on eBay, and they all sold. And then I
Mm,
go to the op shop and see, oh, they got all the Lego games on PS3. I know these will sell quickly. And like, I remember on a weekly basis, I was like clearing out $500 lots for video games. And like these days, I struggle to find much locally, but thankfully, I've built quite a community, so I'll buy games from people in different countries, like Indonesia, where they can't sell on eBay, or India and countries like that.
mm,
And then I can sell these games on eBay, and because of that, like a lot of the higher end games that I sell, I'm actually the only person in the world, or the only person in Australia who's actually got a copy. So because of that, you can price things a little bit higher and different
yeah.
things like that. And I've also got my
And
collection, which I've got almost 5,000 games. So I'm constantly like going through and selling different parts of the collection and things like that.
Mm. And I suppose going back to what you're saying is you got a bit of a competitive edge from that perspective, is because what I find a lot of in YouTube videos and people that approach the octopus in the street is that they go to op shops, they go to garage sales, and they try and source locally. With yourself, like if you're getting stock from overseas through channels like that, it's making it more competitive. You obviously get the stock that people are after. And you're not really competing with anyone else because people aren't going to go to that extent. They're happy to ask a question at a garage sale and say, "Hey, look, do you have any video games?" But that's pretty much the extent of what they probably exhaust it.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I buy a lot of video games from America from companies like Limited Run Games and
Mm.
Limited Rare Games or Strictly Limited Games, and these are certain companies that will release like 1 or 2 or 3,000 copies of a certain game, and sometimes they'll sell out. So obviously, supply and demand. If something sells out and people want it, the price will go up. And being in Australia, because all the copies for sale are in America, you then have to pay more for postage. So because of that,
Mm.
I can price competitively, and I can price mine, 10% cheaper than the cheapest American copy, and it'll sell over here, but it will sell for significantly more than what I've paid for. So
That's
it's
right.
definitely worth doing those things, but it's not you don't spend money on Monday and make it on Tuesday. It's like you spend money in March and you get your return in October.
Yeah, that's right. Is that because of the production run of the game, or is it because of
Yeah,
the? Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Some of these games I've been waiting for 12 months for. It's crazy.
Hmm. Hmm. I actually had a game rock up from, I think it was limited run. Actually, I forgot I pre-ordered it. It just rocked up at my door, and I actually threw it on eBay and sold it. So I had to go back and see if I can get another copy. So I'm
Yeah,
a bit
nice
of a
one.
bit of a fan of the old Wonder Boy, the Wonder Boy collection. So I have
Nice.
to climb on there and have another look to see if I can get another copy.
They actually have an Australian release. I picked up an Aussie copy of Wonder Boy.
Yeah, okay. I'll have a squeeze
And
because
I'm pretty
this
sure
was
it's like $30 too, where the limited run collection would be like 70 or 80 or something
this
ridiculous.
one was 300.
Yeah,
I
there you
got
go.
problems. I sold it for 600, so I was happy with that.
Nice. No, if you're making
But
money, you
well,
haven't
that's
got
right. Yeah.
problems at
Well, I
all.
sold it locally and I sold one on eBay. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's another good point. Like because I do collect games, I have to like set limits for myself. So in terms of limited run games, etc., I won't pay more. Like I won't if I miss it, I won't buy it again. So I
mm,
started not day one, but release number 7 I bought from their website, which was like 2 months into the company, and I almost have the first 50 of them. So like I make sure I'm keeping up with what they are releasing. I don't buy them all, but I'm aware of what's coming out.
mm,
I'm not
mm.
making the mistake of, if I don't want it day one, I don't want it when it's $300 on eBay because it's expensive.
That's right. And I suppose going down that line of thinking as well is you could transfer that across to your reselling business, right? Like, if you're actually researching and all these different things. So where you mightn't say, hey, look, I'm not particularly interested in this game. That you might know there's a cult following or a bit of a followership for it. So if it's going to be a high demand game, pop on, grab it, then sell it later on.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that helps with getting those high dollar items on eBay. So a couple of weeks ago, I found a Age of Empires collector's edition at an op shop. It was $60. I seen it. I went, nah. Came back the next week. It was still there. And the lady said to me, "You looking for anything? You need any help?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I kind of want that, but it's too expensive." And she's like, "No worries." Walked out the back, came back, and she's like, "You can have it for $30." I'm like, "All right, I'll buy it for $30." I know I'm a fan of Age of Empires. I think it's cool, but like I don't collect PC games. So,
Hmm.
but it was sealed. It was Australian PAL, and as a collector, I know that the sealed market's worth a bit right now. All the edges were looking good, different things like that. So I threw it up on eBay for $450. Just make an offer, see what happens. In my head, I'm like, I'll accept, $350, $300 if it
Hmm.
sells.
Hmm.
For $100, I kind of want to keep it because it's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's right.
Nevertheless, in 1 week, I had like 20 messages, and someone from the Netherlands bought it, and paid $510 with postage and everything.
It's ludicrous, isn't it? All for a $30 buy-in.
Yeah, so it was a nice week, that one.
Yeah, and that's something I always subscribe to as well. Is don't be afraid to pay up if you know what you're purchasing. Yeah, don't go throwing money around willy nilly. But if you know exactly what the item's worth and if it's proportionate to what your return on investment, because you see a lot of people looking to buy things for $1 and $2 and all those different things, and if it's outside that price range, they're not interested. But something very similar. I actually stumbled across someone that was selling Mortal Kombat 1 and 2 on the PC, like the original big box release. He wanted $5 each for them. And I basically reached out to him a couple of days after he listed it. He said, look, I've been getting a lot of lowball offers. People just want $1 or $2 for it. I said, well, I'm happy to pay the $10. 3 months later, I think $700 for both of them or something ridiculous like that. So, it's just something, like you said, you just have to keep an eye out and obviously know the niche a little bit. And a bit of research doesn't go astray either.
Yeah, like I buy not too often, but I'll occasionally buy games from people's collections, and when you're doing that, you're going to be paying 60% plus for expensive games. Like people take off the eBay fees and a little bit more for the convenience, but you're not getting $100 games for $5. You might be paying $60 for it.
That's right. Yeah, and I think you need to look at the demographic as well. Because some people don't know what they've got; they just want to get rid of the stuff and move it on. But like you said, if you're buying from a dedicated collector, you're not going to get that cutthroat deal.
Yeah, so I'm probably more or less thinking for my collection when I'm buying stuff like that. But like in saying that, different categories I'll pay different prices for. So last weekend, for example, I went round another eBay reseller's place, and I bought out a bunch of his DVD stock, and like he had movies, which I'm like, all right, I'm giving you $5 for that whole tub, but then he's got seasons, and I'm like, all right, I can do $50 for this tub, and there's all sealed DVDs here. I'm like at $50 here, so I ended up paying like $270 for everything. So, which for DVDs might sound like a lot of money, but I know that that bundles to $50, that bundle's there to $40, that bundle's there to $30. I'm going to make $1,000 in the next few months. It'll be worth it.
That's right. That's exactly right. Like I stumbled across sealed DVDs in the op shop down here around about, I think it was like $6 or $7 I paid, and I listed them, and the next day they'd sold to the States for $120. So you don't have to pay 20 cents on everything if you know what you're looking for, and it all comes back to research, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, and you're definitely right in what you said. Like sometimes you got to pay up for it, but like you also got to be careful. So like I do try and stick to my categories and stick to video games. So I know what like fake video games look like. I know what resale video games look like, and I recently bought a sealed Lego set. I paid $60 for it, so it's way more than I usually spend. And I listed it on eBay. It sold in like 2 days for $200. I'm thinking, woohoo! I made like $100 plus profit. The person got it, and it was resold. And he opened it up, and it'd been opened, and already built. So he returned it. And, like it was a lesson learned. But if it was a video game, I would instantly looked at the seal and went, all right, this is resealed, and I might have the Vinnies I bought it from told me it was new. So if it was a game, I would have said this isn't new and opened it and shown that it was already opened, and probably could have got a cheaper price and different things like that.
Yeah, see, Lego's one of my niches, so I know it back to front. So as soon as when you were going down that path, I exactly knew what you were going to talk about. It caught me out really early on in the piece as well. Exactly what you said, because they've moved to the sticker tabs. Is that what was resealed?
Yeah, exactly. The sticker tabs looked good to me. It was it was a Mickey Mouse Steamboat Mickey Mouse, the black and white one.
Yeah. The Steamboat Willie.
It did have a good ending. I got the set back. I sat here and built it one night. No pieces were missing. And because it's such a rare set, I've got it sitting on eBay for the exact same price that I sold it for.
So the funny thing about that set, when it came out, no one wanted it. So you could actually, you could pick it up for, I think the retail was $120 or $100. I can't remember what it was. You could pick it up for $70, $80 any day of the week. Then
That's
it
hilarious.
was like a snap retirement. Then the price almost shot up to $200 overnight. So it's probably fallen back a little bit. I haven't checked it lately, but yeah. So Lego is definitely a bit of a good category if you can get it, but that comes down to actually being able to source it from that perspective.
Yeah, timing with Lego is the best thing. I'm actually ranked 7th at the moment for loose Lego in Australia on
Yeah. Okay.
uh, how
The
eBay
quota.
tells you your listings, because I picked up like 20 kilos of loose Lego over the past like
Mm,
3 months, and I just recently finished sorting with some friends all the
mm,
Lego into colors and listing it into kilos, and in a week I sold like 15 kilos of Lego, so it's like pushed me up the rankings. But
yeah.
that
Yeah.
probably won't happen again for like 12 months.
No, it's very cyclic. Yeah, what I find, especially with things like Lego and all those different things, is when people tend to move. If you're in I suppose, lack of a better term, like a military area, if you got a lot of military people at the end of the year when they move out from from one base to another or one place to another, they're clearing a lot of their stock out. You'll find a lot of Lego and a lot of video games and a lot of those different things.
Yeah, you're definitely right. And after Christmas time, people who've got unwanted presents and the old toys that the kids aren't using anymore, and they want to get a little bit of money back and different things like that. It's all time of the year. It's the same with video games. Like if a new console comes out, for example, you'll suddenly start like right now. You'll start seeing, well, probably not right now because the PS5 is backwards compatible, but like when the PS4 came out, you started seeing a lot of PS3 games pop up on eBay cheap, and a lot
Mm,
of Wii
mm.
games and 360 games and different things like that.
So I suppose, going into the video game category a little bit, what's your favorite system?
So PS3 is my favorite system. I've got a complete PS3 collection, worldwide English full set. So I always say the PS3 is my favorite. But then yeah, PlayStations. I love PlayStation. So PS1 to PS5, I collect.
Yeah, yeah. So what drew you to the PlayStation 3?
If you go back to like 2014, it was the cheapest system to collect. I'm a tight ass, so I went for the cheap one. Not just that, like I picked the PS3 over the Xbox and the Wii because it's a Blu-ray, and when I was out hunting, all the discs were clean, and the DVD
Mm,
discs of 360 games and Wii were always scratched. So I'm like, all right, I can
mm,
get these cheap. I was young. I just wanted to play games. So I was buying as much as I could, and that turned into me like reaching out to other people and making Facebook groups, and then I started like going overseas and meeting collectors and going to like collecting in Seattle and collecting in Amsterdam, and yeah, just absolutely crazy what's happened with PS3 with me in the last 10 years. I
yeah,
started a Facebook group that grew to like 4,000 members, and I've met a bunch of them. Always trading with them all around the world. I started my YouTube channel and focused on PS3 collecting. So the YouTube channel's basically started from PS3, and then I started doing PS4 stuff, and
mm,
now I just talk
mm,
about video games. But yeah, PS3 is definitely my favorite.
yeah. And do you find that it's more readily available, like because there's not many people that collect it, or
I actually find since 2020 the PS3's like exploded in popularity.
yeah,
A lot of the
okay,
games that I used to find for like $6.95 because that was Cashy's prices, are now like $50, different things like that.
mm, mm. Yeah, 'cause, I suppose, out of all the PlayStations, the PlayStation 3 to me is probably the weakest because I came in at the ground level. I actually played the PlayStation 1 when it first came out. But the PlayStation 2 was another milestone. PlayStation 3 was quite lackluster for me because I had a 360 at the time and a Wii. So I never really dug my tentacles into the PS3. But I'm quite partial to Chainsaw Lollipop.
I actually 100% agree with you. I think at the time the PS3 was a really weak system, but I think over the s- stand of time the PS3's held up. So the
Mm,
PS3 came out in 2007 and it uses Blu-rays, and
mm,
we're in
mm.
2023 and the PS5 is still using the exact same technology.
That's right.
The PS3
The-
also like just had a lot of things that were implemented like just well ahead of its time. A lot of the games have stood the test of time and different things like that.
And do you find that PS3 has a good resale value, like you're saying, obviously outside, or do you think it was mass produced in the sense that there's a lot of shovelware?
I feel if you get a game, Lollipop Chainsaw, for example, if you get the 360 version or the PS3 version, the PS3 version is going to be worth more, like 90% of the
Mm.
time. Same as the Wii version. A lot of the kids' games, for example, you can find them on the Wii for $5, but they'll be $60 games on the PS3.
Mm. Mm.
And I think that just comes down to more collectors collecting for it. When I first started, it was the Wii was the expensive system, but that's definitely changed in the last few years.
That's right. That's something that I noticed as well. Like, going to the start of last year, Wii bundles, you could almost name your price. I was selling Wii bundles for $150, $200 a bundle, but now you're hard pressed trying to offload Wii's in general. So
I've got 15 copies of Wii Sports. I was selling them for $30 a pop at once.
yeah, COVID made it a good market. Then it just died off from there.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So
And even with the Xbox One and PS4, like I'd find PS4 games sell really fast for me, and Switch games sell even faster. But I've got Xbox One games sealed that I've had listed online for like 2 years, and they still haven't moved.
See, I'm the opposite. As soon as I put Xbox One games up there, they go out the door like nothing else. But I've got a tub full of PS4 games and Switch games that are just sitting there, not doing anything.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and I price competitively. Plus, I've got coupons running at the same time. So, if you look at, I suppose, my rankings, they should be up there as one of the cheaper ones. But they never seem to move. So
Probably just all the titles. If you look at all my Switch and PS4 games and your Xbox games, they're probably all exciting, and then vice versa for the other ones.
well, and that's exactly right. I collect the more obscure Switch games, so a lot of the Japanese RPGs and all those. And I find that they've got a niche market, and they can go for a decent bit of money. But like
Yeah,
I said,
I feel they take a long time to sell. Like
Mm.
I've had games like that I've listed for $300, and it'll take 12 months to sell, but it will sell for $300.
Well, that's right. That's exactly right. It's just waiting for the right buyer to stumble across it.
Especially if it's sealed, because the
Mm.
sealed market's even smaller. But like I always sell my sealed stuff eventually for pretty much what I listed for. It's just people have got to watch your item, and they get paid every week or once a month, and then they go and buy their games, and then eventually they're going to be like, oh, let's buy this thing, or they're going to delete it from their watch list.
Because I suppose, do you find that my problem with video games at the moment, it's a race to the bottom. You find a lot of people are just clearing them out. Do you have that problem, or you haven't come across that?
I don't know. So I've been selling a lot of my collection lately. So collector's editions and consoles and different things like that. And like it's not a very competitive market because there's only a few on there. Like limited run games, for example, and different things like that. So I guess I'm got an advantage in that way that it's not that competitive. But yeah, and then when I'm selling other games, I'm not paying much for them. I know that the margins on video games aren't that much, so unless I can get them at a garage sale cheap, or you rarely even get them at op shops cheap anymore because everyone who works there knows that video games are worth something.
Well, and that's exactly right. We see, like you said, going back earlier, is that Wii Sports, that the local Vinnies down here got them for $10 a copy. So I have no idea who they're pricing those off.
Yeah, but the crazy thing is they'd probably be able to sell them for that price because
Yeah.
like the average mum or dad who played Wii Sports 20 years ago might be like, let's play Wii Sports Friday night and drink
Well, that's
with our
right.
friends.
And that's what it comes down to. Is a lot of people just expect it to be quite cheap from that perspective. But that there are people out there that are happy to buy that.
And I think another good thing to touch on with Wii games and stuff like that is your target audience. Is you can make more money by visualizing who your audience is. So perfect example is Mario Kart. Mario Kart will sell for $30 any day of the week. But if you bundle Mario Kart with 2 steering wheel controllers, you can sell it for $70.
Yeah,
You can get those steering wheel controllers for free, part of bundles. So I always
that's
gather
right.
them together, save them up, wait till I got Mario Kart, because the person you're selling to isn't buying Mario Kart to play. They're buying Mario Kart to play with their friend or their
Friends, that's
boyfriend or
right.
their girlfriend on Friday
Mm,
night, and
mm.
they want to replicate that experience. So, the steering wheel will be so much fun,
Yeah, and I suppose a further tip to that one as well is the back of the Wiimote. That little plastic clip. Keep them. If you're going to throw your Wiimotes out, because a lot of them have battery corrosion issues, keep the little clips on the back, because the amount of people that have rechargeable battery packs that and just throw that little clip out, it just makes it easier if you've got those as well.
Yeah, it makes it easy to sell complete ones. So I used to work in a pawn shop, and we would have 50 Wii's and 50 Xbox 360s, etc. So I'd go on Alibaba and order like 50 Wii backs at once and 50 backs of the Xbox controllers, and you're paying like 30 cents a piece, but when
Mm,
you're selling them, you might be getting an extra $20 because it's complete.
that's right. That's exactly right. Yeah, that's what people are looking for. But no, like you say, if you know your niche, you know the market, and that's what you probably need to look at, is to expand a little bit further, just to say, hey, look, if I was in the buyer's shoe, what would I expect, or what would I want? How can I upsell this person? Because, like you said, from a Mario Kart perspective, it's $30. Then you come across a couple of steering wheels, throw those in and go off they go.
And most people probably would have never even thought about that, but as a buyer, that makes sense because
That's right.
what they want to buy.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And you can always, what I normally do is I normally reach out to them after they buy things like that. I sell a lot of manga, right? So, if they buy one copy of a manga book in a series, I'll reach out to them and say, hey, look, I've got X amount of other ones. If you want those, let me know, and you don't have to pay extra postage, because it's no different from a little padded envelope that I'll send it in to a small box. And then they can probably buy
Exactly.
4 or 5 copies. So like you said, it's just reaching out to your customers, knowing what they want, and going out from there. You just upsell them.
Yeah, and you're 100% right. Like, if you sending that one message took 5 seconds, it could get you a sale that turns into a repeat customer who's then buying things for months.
Well,
I told you the
that's exactly.
story of the guy who bought 19 DVDs at once and 12 DVDs the week before. I was thinking on the weekend, what can I do to keep this guy in my store? So I
Mm,
always have like a 15% coupon. So I'll always do 15%, or if I get sent an offer, 20%. So to me, I'm like, all right, let's make a 20% coupon that's private, and I'll just send it to my repeat customers. So I send him a personalized thing, and I put the expiry date like 2024. So now he's
mm,
going to get 20% off. But to me, it's so much more profit if you're buying multiple $5
that's right.
DVDs than one or two. So the 20%, I'm actually making like 60-70%.
Mm, that's right. Like, 'cause look, I suppose you hit that threshold where it fits into a box, or fits into a satchel, depending on how you send it. Then after that, every additional unit becomes just pure profit.
Yeah, and when you're selling 20 items, that the profit margin's like $2 or $3 because majority of it is postage, and then you only have to pay postage once. It's perfect.
Mm, mm,
Like,
mm,
video games is one thing that I don't really do discounts on. So I run a flat rate of 2% for all my video games, but then every single other item in my store I promote at 7%. Because to me, I'd love to sell all my books really cheap, or all my DVDs really cheap, or all the CDs. But I know my audience and my market for video games, so I always want to keep the high price of video games. I have got an exception for if I sell jewelry or gold or silver or something that's really expensive, I only promote it at a low rate. But the average
mm.
bread or butter item, I'm promoting at 7% because I want to be the one that's at the top of the listing. Because I don't know things about books or DVDs that people have been doing this for 10 years too.
And that's exactly right. Yeah, you find that it'll eventually creep up to 3 or 4%, and you don't want to be that, because everyone's just at the bottom of the market. I'd be quite curious to see what the statistics are. People are promoting at 2%, just to see what it is. I promote a bit higher. I promote at 8%, surprisingly. But like you said, you float to the top of the search rankings, and if people are like lazy or that, they're just in a rush, they'll just pick the first thing off the top of the rank and move on. They'll purchase and go.
Yeah, and you're exactly right. I know that because I do YouTube and I put myself out there on eBay, that people follow my eBay store for video games. So I can do that lower promotion because people are still searching the store for video games, and I've still got that target audience. But
You keep
those
it in
other
the store.
categories, you have to promote higher because, like you said, you're doing 8%. I'm selling similar things, so you got to promote at similar prices. And eBay are always getting us to go higher and higher and higher.
That's right. More money, less action from an eBay's perspective. But I suppose what would your store breakdown be? Would you majority DVDs, majority books, majority video games, or do you have like an even split?
I would say 90% is media like that, and then 10% is just weird stuff that I wouldn't say I put money into. Like my mum will go garage selling or op shopping and buy stuff and send it to me. Or one weekend I went to a garage sale, bought a few things. I was nice to the lady, and she's like, "Just sold my house. Got to be out by Sunday. I want everything gone." I'm like, "Yeah, I'll take it all if it doesn't go," because she's like joking about taking it to the tip. Gave her my number. She gave me a call. Went round there and literally filled the car up. Like, I mean, I probably should have got a ticket. I couldn't see out the windows or anything. Got home, filled up a spare room upstairs, and it took me 12 months to list this stuff. And it was women's clothes and like kids stuff and Halloween decorations and like party stuff that hadn't been opened. And I sold all this stuff. I touched on previously that I worked in a pawn shop. So what I was doing in the pawn shop was running their eBay page. So
Yep.
I got to literally learn every single category that I wanted to. I was using Terapeak really well. So Terapeak isn't just good for searching things; it tells you what to sell. So I was going on Terapeak, and it was telling me video cameras and GPSs are hot this week. So I'd go into the pawn shop and grab video cameras and GPSs and sell them, and it would
Yeah.
work.
Okay.
That's what people are after. So it would tell you how many people are searching for the item, how many are listed, and how many are buying them. And if more are selling than what's listed and there's heaps of people looking for them, then you're going to get a sale instantly.
Yeah, like you said, it's all about supply and demand, isn't it?
Yeah, and then I took those, learning categories into doing this full time and going to garage sales. So last weekend, I bought a hammer for $5 and I sold it for $68 because I knew that, this is a metal hammer and it's got a metal head, and these are like $150 at Bunnings, and builders will buy these cheap because they last for 50 years.
That's right. Yeah, and I suppose how long have you been full time for?
So I went full time the 1st of July last year, so I'm coming up to 12 months of full time.
No, okay. You enjoying it so far?
Yeah, I absolutely love it. Best lifestyle ever. I'd never want to go back to working for someone when you can do eBay full time.
That's right. Yeah, and I suppose, and I'm very similar. I started full time at the start of last year, because my plans for World Domination was a bit hindered by my previous employer. So struck out my own, and I've been going, pretty decent the last 12 months. So yeah, so
Not making $1 million, but like you paying the bills and doing everything, putting food on the table.
And I suppose it really just takes to become really good at the niches you're working in. Your income will expand, and like you said, if you're sourcing from alternative means, like you said, that you're reaching out to people in different countries and sourcing products that exclusive to that country, or something along the lines of that. You've got a competitive edge from that perspective.
It's definitely about what you put in too. Like I probably got comfortable at one point. I know Chris Furlong talked about it, and like you get to a point where you feel like it's too easy. And last year, November, December, I started to slack off a little bit, and then like I was still making an absolute killing. I think I was at like 35,000 for my 90-day total, and I'm like, yeah, making a killing doing this. It's easy. So I started listing like 600 in October, 400 in November, 300 in December, and then in January I did like 100 listings, and my sales dropped. And I didn't really do that many listings in February, and my sales dropped. And then come March, I'm like looking at the numbers and I'm like, all right, things like aren't really adding up. And then, I'm realized, okay, I got to pull my finger out and start listing like I was when I first went full time. And I think for the month of May, I've done like 750 listings already, and I'm going to try and hit well over 1,000 by the end of the month.
Yeah, and so obviously you're moving to a store that's quantity based opposed to, is that what you're looking at, or?
Like yes and no. Some days I'll list a couple of consoles and things like that. Some days
Mm,
I'll list 100 DVDs. It's I focus on the number of like total listings, like
dollar?
yeah, the dollar figure. So if I'm listing $500 worth of DVDs, or I'm trying to listing 3 items, I'll make it try and be like $1,000 worth of stock. I won't just list one $5 item for the day, or list 10
Mm,
DVDs and call it
mm.
that.
And I think that's what a lot of people fall into a trap. And I did the same, right? So basically, I became a little bit complacent. Q4 figures were going off the charts. Then you do put your foot off the pedal a little bit. Then it takes a couple of months for it to catch up until you
Yeah,
yeah.
100% right.
And you find it in Facebook groups, and you find it on online chats now. People are saying, look, the sales are down, all these different things. But when you peel it back, are they putting the effort in? Are they just listing, $3, $5 DVDs a day and wondering why they're making $12 a week in sales? Where
Yeah,
if
see,
they
I've noticed that too, but my sales are up, and I've been busting my ass working. So
mm.
you bust your ass working, eBay give you the sales, I find.
Well, that's right. It's proportionate, isn't it? So basically, what I find is that it's not exactly a faucet. You just don't punch 100 listings in today, and then tomorrow you've got like a $4,000 day. It's going to take a couple of days of continual work just to get the algorithm, I suppose, working in your favor and pushing it from that perspective.
That's not just listing though. Like yesterday I didn't list anything, but I was on eBay for 12 hours. I went
Mm,
through my store and I decreased prices, and did all my postage for the weekend yesterday. I think I did like 60 items. I haven't actually listed anything today. It's 10 p.m. But after our podcast, I've got 40 or 50 DVDs outside that I've already cleaned, and sorry, CDs. I've already
mm,
cleaned and tested, well, looked at all the discs, and I'm ready to take photos of, and I'll list all of them tonight.
mm. Because what kind of photos do you take? Do you have like a photo station, or do you have?
To my photo station, a table right here, and then I turn the light on. I grab a piece of core flute, put it here, sit on my ass, put a YouTube video on, and smash my photos out.
Oh, nice. I don't know if you see what my thing was from last week, but I have a cardboard box with a bit of butcher's paper over
Yeah,
it.
nice. But like I
So
find because I'm doing it here in front of YouTube, it's not
mm,
an unpleasant task, or it's something that's like, oh, okay, I have to do that now. It's like, all right, let's have a coffee and watch a half an hour YouTube video, because it's photo time, and it's a good task. Like
mm,
what I brought up about listing 100 items when the footy's on. I don't like listing 100 DVDs when I can't watch a game of footy or a game of soccer, because
mm,
it's a 2 hour process of you doing the exact same thing, and it's boring. So
mm.
I'll save them for the weekend, and I'll list hard things during the week when I want to do it quickly, or different things like that.
Yeah, so I actually prefer listing. I could list all day and it wouldn't phase me in the slightest. See, I need to kidnap someone off the street to take photographs because that's what I absolutely loathe.
I
That's
like it when it's small items. When I'm taking photos of clothes and different things like that, I do not like it. It's yeah, I purposely like don't look at clothes and shoes and stuff in op shops, because I hate taking photos of them.
Yeah, I hate shirts. I don't mind pants too much, but yeah, the shirts do me in. It's just they're easy to photograph and they're easy to measure, but yeah, they're just
I'm all about saving time. So if I want to do clothes, I want to buy a second ring light so I can then set up a second photo station that's
mm,
permanently set up, like on a slant with Velcro, so I can just throw the clothes on it. But
mm,
it's probably going to be $150 process to set up, and I don't want to
mm.
move things around, because it's going to take me 15 minutes just to set the station up each time, when I know I can do it that fast away.
Mm. And that sort of comes down to I'm in the process. Like I said, my clothing photos at the moment either revolve around putting it on the back fence just for that grey background, or alternatively just like a little 3M hook in the natural light in the front room. But yeah, like you said, I need to make a dedicated. I need to put my tentacle out and make a dedicated space where I can actually photograph. Because once I do that, set it all up, I'll be good to go. It wouldn't worry me. So
Yeah, I could smack out 500 photos in half an hour. That's
mm,
no problem. And then I use Dropbox to put them straight on the computer. It's there in 5 minutes. It's a streamlined process. Absolutely easy. And then, like you said, like I enjoy listing. It's a fun task, especially when you're listing. Like if I'm listing video games, I have a blast because I'm like,
that's right.
let's check out the prices of these PS3 games or these Switch games at the moment. See what things are selling for.
Yeah, I like listing like for like because I use a set, I suppose, title structure. With video games, with DVDs, and all those different things, VHS. If you're doing a bulk lot of those, it just makes it easy because you just get to the point where everyone's just changing the title. Everything else flows on from that perspective. But like you said, with
100%.
clothing or all those different things, you likelihood of you listing 20 pairs of Levi jeans in one sitting, it's probably non-existent unless you're getting it in wholesale or bulk. It makes it a bit more difficult, but it gets to the point where you just tune off and just get on with it.
Yeah, and like you can get procrastinated, but if I feel like I get a little bit of ADHD. I have to have something else going on at once, otherwise I just don't enjoy doing it. But
Yeah.
you can if you start checking your phone and different things like that, one listing can turn from 1 minute into 10 minutes into 20 minutes.
Yeah.
You do bring up a really good point though, like listing the same category at once, and like I'll try and do that. So tonight, for example, I was gonna either list CDs or DVDs. So I put a CD on the ground and a DVD on the ground, and I called the dog over, and she grabbed the CD first. So I did CDs, but I don't do both of them at once because you're thinking about the same categories, you're clicking the same item specifics, different things like that, and it like becomes an automated process, and it's just easier to do one thing.
Yeah, because if you, and I find if you like you said, if you focus on that one category, smash all that out, then you can move to a different category, then you can move to another category, then you can move to another category. Like people that I chat to in Facebook groups, they go, oh well, tonight I'm listing 3 books, 2 shirts, and 17 of this other thing. You kind of like, well, there's no consistency because you speak to them and they just flow in that order. They go 1 shirt, 1 DVD, 1 CD, 1 video game. They just rinse and repeat. It's like just do everything in one hit. Like just block it up.
Like I must admit, I've done that in the past, and if I get sent a box of stuff from my mum, and it'll be all these weird items. Most of the time, I don't have a pile of these certain things upstairs, so I will have to do one at a time. But if I can prevent it, I will. Much prefer to do video games on Monday and DVDs on Tuesday, and CDs on Wednesday, etc.
I suppose that's what I'm trying to get into. To streamline processes because that's I'm very process driven, and I want to get to the point where I niche down into something that I can just basically I know how to photograph it, I know how to list it, I go from those different things because I'm quite I suppose shiny objects for lack of a better term in the op shop. If something catches my eye, I'll wander over there and spend the next 30 minutes comping it to only find out that it's worthless or it's worth money, but I'm going to spend 6 hours packaging it or 6 hours researching it and all these different things. And
where it's worth money, but one sells a year and there's 10 on eBay. So like,
that's exactly right. Like, there's, speaking about Christian earlier, is that he focuses on plush, but there's 99% of the plush that you look at is trash. I came across a $250 plush the other day. And like you said, one probably sells a year, and I'm happy to keep it. But excuse me, that I wouldn't purposely go look at the plush for just the simple fact of that.
I think books are just like that. Like I go into the op shop and I've sold hundreds and thousands of books and made like a lot of money selling books, but I'll go in there and they're $1 each, and I won't look at any or browse any of the shelves or anything like that because it's most books are worth $12 on eBay, and that's including like the $9.70 postage that you're going to pay and the eBay fees, etc. But if I'm at a garage sale and there's a pile of free stuff and there's a bunch of books in there, I'll grab them and take it for myself.
That's exactly right. I lose my voice.
You're right. Big day in the
It's
ocean.
never happened before. That's right. I'm drying out.
Must be the cold weather with the Antarctic draft coming in.
Oh, that's right. That's exactly right. Yeah. Whereabouts are you located? You're up in Queensland, are you?
Yeah, I'm up in Townsville, so I'm all the way up north.
Oh, okay. I thought you were near Brisbane, actually.
I'm a long way away. I'm up with all your relatives in the Great Barrier Reef.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's probably what. Oh, no. I might let you talk for a couple of minutes. Is there anything else you want to raise?
No, it was good. No, I'm lost for words now.
Well, I think we might wrap it up, mate. Thanks for popping on.
No, it was great. Yeah, I enjoyed watching last week's episode, and sent you a message. And thanks for getting me on here. It's been good chatting.
Yeah, no, it's been really good. And I'm trying to focus on people that have specific backgrounds, opposed to just like I like the generalist knowledge as well. But with your background in media and DVDs and video games, and a bit of podcast as well, it works out into that. And I want to kind of bring that kind of skill set across the people, just to say, hey, look, you need to look at doing niches, or you need to look at doing these different things to further your understanding of the category, or or source different from a different outside the box.
Yeah, you're 100% right, and you touched on it in what you just said in going into the op shop and seeing shiny objects. So I've mentioned that I've got a full PS3 set. So with the knowledge of having a full PS3 set, I almost know the price of every single PS3 game. So I can go into the shelf and there'll be 500 games there, and I can pick out every single game that's worth $30 without pulling my phone out. So, if you're at a garage sale and I can just pull $5, 5 games out, I can ask how much. I don't have to pull my phone out. And, it's just a more easy transaction, and it streamlines things and it makes things a lot quicker.
Yeah, it makes it, like you say, if you know the thing back to front. Like I dabble in a bit of toys to life, like Skylanders and Disney Infinity and all those different things. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, and like you said, you just you have your tentacles across them a fair bit, and you know what the prices are. You don't need to to research them up, and especially something as cutthroat as a garage sale, you need to almost be making instantaneous decisions before someone else grabs it.
Yeah, if you see a
So,
$300 Skylander in a box that's $50, you're going to pick it up. But to the average person who doesn't know Skylanders, $50 is a lot of work, and you mightn't make much profit. So it's a risk,
and that's exactly how I started in the category. That there's something on Facebook Marketplace which she wanted $200 for a box of Skylanders, and it was sitting there for quite a while, and I was humming and hawing, thinking, well, I don't really know the category. What's going on here? So I took a punt, which $200 is a lot of money. Ended up making about $800, $900 in that little box because of, just because of those characters. And it's pretty much expanded since then. If you know what you're looking for, and there's certain characters you can see straight out from a photo. You can grab them straight away. So
it's funny, like the more hardcore you get, you realize like there's expensive items and then there's rare items. Like there's video games out there that I know sell for well over $1,000 that haven't been on eBay for 3, 4, 5 years. But like if they pop up on a lot on Facebook, majority of people even like looking them up are going to be like, this is worthless because I can't find it. But like, I know that this is worth, $1,000 because like 10 copies have come through our community in the last 3 or 4 years and different things like that.
Because in Canberra, there's a gentleman down here that he basically looks at high end games, and he's people are scoffing at him all the time because he's trying to offload games for $950. But if that game's
Is
only
that
got 50
Peter?
bucks, Yeah.
Yeah, I'm friends with him, so it's a small
Yeah.
world
Okay.
when it's a
Yeah.
collector.
Yeah. I've actually ran into Peter. He didn't know who I was, but um, yeah, and yeah, like you said, if there's only 50 copies of that game worldwide, it is going to command a higher price, and especially from a collector's market. Yeah, people are uneducated. That yeah, they don't know what they're looking at. So
Some of his most expensive games he's selling to another full set collector in like a payment plan and different things
Mm.
like that because they are worth what he's asking and he will get what he's asking. And
Well, that's
like I
right.
see people laugh reacting to all these comments and it's like, no,
Mm.
that's a good price.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly
You
right.
don't
Like,
know what you're looking at. That's
yeah,
the
because
first copy I've seen since 2016, and it's like,
because I'm always curious as to see, because I do my own research when I see things pop up like that. That's kind of thinking, well, I've never seen that game before in my life. I'll be wondering how rare it is, and yeah, I'll go down the rabbit hole of going down that way. Yeah, I've got no intentions of purchasing it, or no intentions of going further with it. But always that professional curiosity just to see what's going on. Because
yeah,
like you said, you might
exactly.
actually stumble across it at a garage sale because someone might have a copy from some obscure reason. If they may have had an international relative that sent them a birthday present. And they didn't want that game and they've never played it, and it's just sat on the shelf and go from that way. So,
You'll be shocked what you find in the wild. I've found games that I'm like, this is on my list, but I have to contact someone in this country for it, and I find it in my shop, and it's just like, how did this show up
that's right.
here? Like, that doesn't
Mm,
make any sense.
mm, mm. And I suppose as far away from civilization as Townsville is, like
Oh, it's not even civilization where I live at the moment. It's pretty wild.
yeah. I know some other octopuses up in Townsville. They're not the most friendliest characters, put it that way.
I'm hopefully gonna move south in the next couple of years, so I'm looking
Mm.
forward to that. But
Yeah,
in
you're looking
saying
at
that,
me.
like the demographic up here is little bit like lower socioeconomics, so the prices in op shops are a lot cheaper and different things like that.
And I'm glad you brought that up. Actually, that's one of my main sourcing. And now I've got my voice back. Um, Focus on low socioeconomic areas. What I used to do a lot of retail arbitrage. I used to go to more dodgier areas because the people didn't have the money to spend. They didn't have the expendable income that they could purchase things. And when I was looking at buying Lego, you'd have clearance sections full of Lego sets that you couldn't get anywhere else because these are in high demand, but because these people didn't have the expendable income, and other people didn't particularly want to go into this area. I used to do shelf sweeps and make an absolute killing on it in just on a one run.
You got me thinking back to going into Big W and buying like 6 copies of Persona 5 with the slipcover for $30 each and
Mm.
flipping them all for $150 on eBay, and like all the buyers are in Melbourne or Sydney.
Mm, mm. And that's exactly right. Like, it's just you have to use your competitive advantage. If you are in a in an area that commands the higher prices, you might just have to drive a bit further out.
Yeah, 100% right there. I've considered doing trips to like country towns just to check out their stock in stores.
Yeah,
But
and
usually I find enough stock that I don't have to go that far to source my items.
mm, mm. And I find, if you've got family in other states or you've got family in different areas, you can actually reach out to them and say, "Hey, look, this is a list of what I'm looking for. Keep your eye out, either in the stores or the op shops or even on Facebook Marketplace." And that's how I find a lot of my stock as well.
Yeah,
Is you
100%.
know, I'll just reach out to family and say, "Hey, look, if you see this pop up on Facebook Marketplace, or if you're speaking to people because like word of mouth is quite popular." And quite powerful as well as that. If people know what you do. I've had my brother-in-law, people he works with in the salt mines, reach out to him and say, "Hey, look, I'm moving this, game collection. Are you interested?" So,
Yeah, and you're 100% right. I get messages all the time now, and I always tell people what I do. Like, some people are embarrassed to say that they sell things on eBay, but I'll tell the lady at the op shop what I'm doing. I'm not. They're still going to sell it to me.
Well, that's right. Yeah, down here, there's a couple of the op shops that are, I suppose, a bit funny about that. You know, it's all about choosing your audience. But like when you build rapport with people, and I think that's the biggest thing, you know, from my perspective, is to build rapport with your op shop workers and you know people that you deal with on a daily basis. Because yeah, if you're going into the same op shop twice or three times a week, there's a good chance that the same volunteer or the same work is going to be on. Yeah, just build relationships and go from that way.
Yeah, be nice to people. If you be nice to
Yeah,
people,
well,
they'll
that's
be
right.
nice to you back.
I promised I'll stop whipping them, so they become more responsive through that.
Take a mop
Oh,
with you so they don't have to
yeah,
clean up after you and things
that's
like
right.
that.
Yeah. Well, they're happy if I, yeah, don't get a big slime trail behind me. So, like you said, bring a mop in and off you go.
Yeah, spot on though. Like making relationships with op shops is key. One of my local salvo stores, the head warehouse, now give me boxes of DVDs for $5 a box because
Mm,
they're at the point now where they're turning away donations, so they're happy to give them to me. And I'm making like some of these I'm throwing out because they're scratched, but some of these DVDs are 30, $40 each.
mm. So I'm in the process of trying to work a deal out with my local one at the moment. Is that, yeah, they've got the same shelf of DVDs that have been sitting there for the last 3 months. So I'm thinking about saying to them, hey, look, you know, do you want me to come in for an hour? I'll sort through your shelf, make reseller boxes or make, you know, market boxes where you just fill a box of $5, clear out your shelves, and then you can restock it. Because, yeah, the same DVDs are there week in, week out,
Yeah,
and they
they're
refuse
never
to.
going to move, and they
That's right.
probably don't change the prices on them, right?
No, they don't. But the thing is that they've actually told me before is that they won't restock the DVDs until those ones are gone.
Yeah,
And it's kind of like,
they
well,
send them
you know,
around the
no one's.
stores, or they probably just don't even take the donations, and the
No, that's right.
DVDs people want to buy.
Yeah, that's just ludicrous. But once I take over the world, mate, op shops are going to run differently.
I'm looking forward to that day.
I'll cut you a deal.
Sounds good.
All right, Figsy, it's a pleasure talking to you, mate. I'll
Yeah, thanks for having me on. It
no,
was
it's my
really awesome to
pleasure.
be here.
Yeah, no, it was good. It's always a first for losing my voice. So some people argue
Yeah,
that
it
I like the sound of my own voice, but yeah, that's the
came
first
back
time
at
I've
the
actually
end.
lost
That's
it.
all that matters.
What's that? Sorry.
It came back at the end. That's all that matters.
Yeah, I always felt like I had to go back in the octa tank just to to refresh it, but yeah, no, it seems to be working pretty well. But yeah, I thought I'd mix things up this time, put a hat on, just to change things around. I've been watching a bit of YouTubers, and I find a lot of people prefer wearing hats for some reason. So I've just thought I'd try it out.
I assumed you ate someone in the ocean and they were in a hat.
Yeah, no. It's just that I thought I'd obviously doing a bit of researches on the YouTubers to see what's popular, and for some reason people want to wear hats inside, and hats 24/7. It's kind of like they got some like grafted twin on their head that they're trying to hide or something. Yeah,
No, too funny. I don't know. I wear beanies, but I don't wear hats. It's not for me.
yeah. I wouldn't be really cold enough to wear a beanie in Townsville, would it,
Yeah, I only get to wear one for like 2 weeks of the year.
mate? Every time I've been up to Townsville, it felt like a bit of bloody freeze dried octopus, mate.
It's 18 degrees right now, so it's actually beautiful. Like I was walking
Mm,
outside the Salvi, walking the dog, and it was really nice.
I think we're -4 here last night. I can't go out cold blooded. I'll
It was
freeze out the
cold
front.
last night when I was eating my octopus.
Keep, sleep with one eye open, mate. They come in. They come in droves.
I threw out the evidence before I came on the show.
All right, mate. I'll leave you to it. But thanks again for popping on.
No worries. Thanks so much for having me. I'll talk to you
No,
next time.
I'll put all your details down the bottom, and make sure you check out Figsy and his podcast. I actually, like I said, I watched it yesterday. It was quite entertaining. So, and it's
Oh,
good.
cheers,
Yeah,
bud.
like it's something that like as a reseller, I know it's primarily a collector's podcast. Is that you got a lot of things that can transfer into the reselling realm. So that was good.
Yeah, 100%. And it's like that with all niches. Like, I love hearing about, I'll watch videos of collectors about certain niches just to learn about these topics.
Mm, mm, mm. But yeah, that's the biggest thing I could recommend to anyone is basically, if you're looking at taking over the world, learn a niche, learn everything you can do about it. Like, watch YouTube videos where people are passionate about it. Then you'll just pick up little pieces of information, and you'll learn what they're looking for.
Yeah, 100% right, man. One niche at a time, and then you'll take over the world.
That's right. There's going to be one dictator, and it's going to be me. All right, everyone. We'll catch us next time.
See you guys.
Bye.